Did you know? Beneath the Rawdah Sharif in Medina, there is a secret wall that is made neither of iron nor stone, but of thousands of mounds of molten lead. But why? Why was this impenetrable wall built deep underground? Hidden behind this is a terrifying night from 850 years ago, when European Christians conspired to steal the sacred body of our beloved Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were almost successful. They had dug a tunnel and reached the very walls of the Rawdah Mubarak. What happened next? How was that sacrilegious conspiracy foiled? And how was the sacred body of the Prophet protected through a dream? If you do not know this event, a major chapter of Islamic history remains unknown to you. Let us go back to that night. Before we uncover this historical truth, please leave a like in love and support for the Prophet. A night in Medina Munawwara, silence all around. Beneath the green dome of Al-Masjid al-Nabawi, a miraculous peace prevails. Muslims are sleeping peacefully near the Rawdah of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They do not know what a horrific thing is happening beneath their feet. They do not know that in a small rented house very close to the mosque live two men who look like ordinary God-fearing people, but whose hearts hide a poison more dangerous than Satan's. These two men identified themselves as pilgrims from Morocco, Maghreb. Outwardly, they appeared extremely pious. They had long beards, tasbih, prayer beads always in their hands, and the dhikr of Allah on their lips. The people of Medina were impressed by them. They prayed 5 times a day in congregation, fasted, and gave immense charity to the poor of Medina. People would say, "Ah, what great men of Allah they are. They have come from so far out of love for the Prophet." But in the darkness of the night, their true faces emerged. When everyone in Medina was in deep sleep, these two devils would close the doors and windows of their room. An expensive mat was spread on the floor. They would move that mat, and beneath it lay their true purpose. There, they had dug a secret tunnel. Every night they entered that tunnel with shovels and pickaxes. Their goal was not treasure. Their goal was the most precious treasure in the universe, the sacred body of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ne'uzubillah. Their plan was to steal the Prophet's body and take it to Europe to please the Christian rulers. They knew that for Muslims, nothing is greater than their Prophet. If they succeeded, Muslim morale would be shattered, and Christian forces could easily occupy the Muslim world. Night after night, they dug. But where would they put the dirt? If dirt piled up in front of the house, people would get suspicious. So they devised a sinister plan. They made large leather bags. They spent the night digging and filling the bags with soil. Just before the Fajr Adhan, they would carry those bags on their shoulders, go outside Medina to a deserted place, and dump the soil. During the day, they would go back to pretending to be pious. Days and nights passed. Their unholy tunnel slowly moved toward the Rawdah Sharif. They calculated that the distance from their house to the Rawdah was only a few yards away, perhaps a week or less. They were ecstatic, thinking their mission was about to succeed. They planned how to remove the body, take it out of Medina, and escape by ship. Everything was going according to their plan, but they forgot one thing. They forgot that he who was beloved to Allah while alive remains the most beloved after his passing. Allah himself declared that he would protect his Habib, beloved. And when Allah takes the responsibility of protecting someone, no power on earth can harm them. Thousands of miles away from Medina in Damascus, the capital of Syria, ruled one of the most powerful and pious rulers of the Muslim world, Sultan Zangi, rahmatullahi alayhi. He was the terror of the Crusaders. That night, the Sultan could not sleep. In the first part of the night, he fell asleep briefly, but suddenly woke up in a state of panic. His body was drenched in sweat. His heart was pounding like a blacksmith's bellows. Tears were streaming from his eyes. What he saw was no ordinary dream. He saw the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, himself standing before him. But the Prophet's face was pale, showing signs of deep concern. The prophet pointed toward two men with reddish or blonde complexions and blue eyes. He said to the Sultan in an anguished tone, "Mahmud, save me from these dogs. They are hurting me." The Sultan sat up with a shout. The prophet's cry, "Save me," echoed in his ears. He couldn't understand it. The prophet has passed away. Who could be hurting him now? The Sultan performed wudu, prayed and wept before Allah. Then, calming his mind, he lay down again. But shortly after, he had the exact same dream. The prophet appeared again, showed the same two blue-eyed devils and said, "Mahmud, save me. Save." The Sultan woke up again, his fear intensifying. He prayed again and tried to sleep. But when he closed his eyes for the third time, the dream repeated. 3 times in one night. Every time, it was that same desperate call. This time, the Sultan could no longer stay in bed. He cried out, "The prophet is in danger, and I am sleeping here in comfort. I have no right to sleep." In the last part of the night, just before Fajr, the Sultan summoned his Grand Vizier and most trusted friend, Jamaluddin Musuli. Jamaluddin was shocked to see the Sultan's condition. His eyes were red and his face was pale. Weeping, the Sultan told him about the dreams. 3 times in one night, the prophet called me. He told me to save him from those 2 blue-eyed men. What do I do? What does this mean? The vizier went into deep thought. Then he said gravely, "O Sultan, this is no ordinary dream. This is a special signal from Allah. Surely a great danger has befallen Medina, and Allah has chosen you to protect His Habib. Do not delay for a moment. Leave for Medina immediately." The Sultan asked, "But how will I recognize those 2 men? There are thousands of people in Medina." The vizier replied, "We will see to that in Medina. First, we must reach there, and let no one know the purpose of this journey. This must be a secret mission. If the enemies find out, they will flee or become alert." Sultan Nuruddin Zangi decided instantly. He took 20 of his elite cavalrymen and the vizier. He also took a large amount of gold coins and expensive gifts. He did not announce that he was going for an emergency. He announced that he was going for ziyarat, visiting Medina. The journey from Damascus to Medina was long, usually taking a month or more. But the Sultan's mind was like a storm. He did not dismount his horse. He forgot food and sleep. He galloped like a madman. In his ears, only the prophet's words rang, "Mahmud, save me." History bears witness that he covered that long distance in just 16 days. The people of Medina were stunned. The Sultan of Damascus was suddenly in Medina. Without prior notice, the Sultan entered Medina and went straight to Al-Masjid an-Nabawi. He stood before the Rawdah Sharif and could not hold himself back. He wept like a child. Seeing him cry, the people of Medina wept too. The Sultan whispered to himself, "O Messenger of Allah, your servant has arrived. Tell me, where are those enemies?" The Sultan sat privately with his vizier. He said, "What do I do now? I don't know those 2 blue-eyed men. How will I find them?" The vizier came up with a brilliant idea. He said, "Sultan, call the governor of Medina. Tell him that the Sultan of Damascus wants to personally give gifts and gold coins to every single person in Medina. Everyone, men, women, elderly, children, must come. No one should be left out." The plan was this. As people came for gifts, they would pass before the Sultan, and he would look at their faces. If the 2 men from the dream appeared, he would recognize them. The next morning, the announcement was made. People were overjoyed. From the morning, thousands gathered at the mosque. Sultan Nuruddin Zangi sat on a high seat with a pile of gold coins. One by one, the people of Medina came. The Sultan stared intensely at every face. Thousands came, took gifts, and left. Morning turned to noon, noon to afternoon. But the 2 faces the Sultan sought were nowhere to be found. The Sultan grew anxious. Was the dream false? No, a dream of the prophet cannot be false. As evening approached, the line ended. The Sultan, frustrated, called the governor. He asked, "O governor, tell me truly, has everyone in Medina come? Is there anyone left who did not come for my gift?" The governor thought and said, "No, Sultan, I believe everyone has come." The Sultan urged him, "Think carefully. Is there anyone who doesn't mix with people or someone who is new?" Then the governor suddenly remembered, "Yes, your majesty, I remember now. 2 men are left. They are pilgrims from Morocco. They are very holy and pious men. They live near the Rawdah. They don't take charity. Instead, they give to others. They spend all day in worship, so they probably didn't come." From Morocco, living near the Rawdah, doesn't take charity. The moment the Sultan heard this, his heart skipped a beat. His 6th sense screamed, "These are the ones!" The Sultan roared, "Bring them before me immediately. I want to see them." The governor said, "But sir, they are very holy men. They might not want to come." The Sultan replied, "Then I will go myself. Show me their house." The Sultan, the vizier, and the soldiers rushed to the house. It was right against the wall of Al-Masjid an-Nabawi. As the Sultan reached the door, his heart raced. He entered and saw 2 men sitting there. They had tasbih in their hands and the Quran before them. They looked like angels. But when the Sultan looked at their faces, he shuddered. Yes, these were the ones, the same complexions, the same blue eyes the Prophet had shown him. The Sultan's tears dried, replaced by a fire of rage. He thundered, "Who are you? Tell me the truth. Why have you come to Medina?" They replied calmly, "Sir, we are simple travelers. We came for Hajj and stayed in Medina out of love for the Prophet. We do nothing but worship." The Sultan said, "Lies! Will you tell the truth, or should I call the executioner?" They continued to swear by God. The Sultan was momentarily conflicted. There was no outward proof. Then he looked at the floor. A carpet was spread there. The Sultan felt a suspicion. He ordered the soldiers, "Remove that carpet." When the soldiers pulled it away, the atmosphere changed instantly. Beneath the carpet was not a dirt floor, but a large wooden plank. The Sultan signaled, and the soldiers pried it open. Everyone gasped in horror. Beneath the plank was a massive, deep, dark hole. It was a tunnel, starting inside the room, but no one knew where it ended. Sultan Nuruddin Zangi stood at the edge. He took a torch and looked inside. The tunnel went straight underground toward the sacred Rawdah of Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sultan and his trusted soldiers entered the narrow tunnel. It was cramped, and they had to crawl. The air was thick and hot, but the Sultan pushed forward to see how far these devils had reached. After a short distance, the Sultan stopped. His body trembled, and his limbs went numb. He saw that they had dug right up to the foundation walls of the Rawdah Sharif. Just a few more feet, perhaps a day or 2 more, and they would have touched the sacred grave. Nauzubillah, Sultan Nuruddin Zangi burst into tears. He fell into prostration, thanking Allah. "O Allah, millions of thanks to you. You sent me at the right time. One more moment, and the greatest stain in Islamic history would have occurred." He finally understood why the Prophet had repeatedly told him, "Mahmud, save me." The danger was closer than anyone could have imagined. The Sultan emerged from the tunnel, his face red with fury. He drew his sword. The 2 impostors, who had been acting like saints, were now trembling with fear. Their faces turned the color of ash. They knew their game was over. The Sultan held the sword to their throats and roared, "Now tell the truth! Who are you? Who ordered this heinous act? If you tell a single lie, I will take your heads right now." Fear of death forced the truth out of them. They stammered, "Sir, forgive us. We are not Muslims. We are Christians from Spain. We were sent by the Christian kings of Europe." They confessed that they were promised immense wealth and gold. Their mission was to steal the body of the Prophet and take it to Europe. They believed that if they held the Prophet's body, the morale of Muslims would break. They would turn toward Europe instead of the Kaaba, and the Christians could then easily seize Jerusalem and the entire Muslim world. The Sultan asked, "Where did you put the dirt? Why did no one see you?" They replied, "We pretended to worship by day and dug by night. We filled leather bags with soil and dumped it outside Medina during the dark hours of Fajr. We blended in so well that no one suspected us." Upon hearing this, the Sultan looked at them with pure disgust. He said, "Villains like you have no right to live on this earth." He immediately ordered their execution. Before thousands of people, near Al-Masjid al-Nabawi, the two cursed conspirators were beheaded. A great danger was averted, but the Sultan's heart was still not at peace. He thought, "They tried today, someone else might try tomorrow. Anyone can come through the ground. My prophet's Rawdah cannot remain unprotected like this." That very night, he made a historic decision. He summoned the greatest architects, engineers, and laborers. He said, "I will not leave Medina until I build a defense for my prophet that no one can breach until the day of judgment." The Sultan ordered a deep trench to be dug all around the Rawdah Sharif. The workers dug until they hit the water table. Then the Sultan gave an extraordinary command. He ordered a massive amount of lead and copper to be melted. Huge furnaces were set up and the metals were liquefied. Then that molten, glowing lead was poured into the deep trench. Imagine the scene. A solid wall of lead was formed deep underground, surrounding the Rawdah Sharif. Once it cooled, it became harder than steel. To get through it, one would have to melt or cut metal deep underground, a task that is impossible. Sultan Nuruddin Zangi personally supervised the work. He worked alongside the laborers, his tears and sweat mixing together. He whispered, "O messenger of Allah, I, Mahmud, could only do this much for you. Now sleep in peace." The lead barrier was completed. The Sultan was now certain that no devil could ever reach the Prophet from underground again. This is that historic wall that still guards the Rawdah Sharif today. Over 850 years have passed, and no one has ever been able to cross that boundary. After the work was done, the Sultan warned the people of Medina. "People of Medina, the Prophet's trust is with you. Be vigilant, suspect any stranger. The enemies of the Prophet will never sit idle." History shows that several attempts were made to steal the sacred body, but they were always foiled by Allah's power. Historical texts like Wafa al-Wafa and Tarikh Medina mention that even before Nuruddin Zangi, a ruler of Egypt named Al-Hakim bi-Amr, Allah tried twice. The first time, a terrifying storm turned back his army. The second time, his agents were caught and killed by the locals. Every time, Allah proved the verse, "And Allah will protect you from the people." Sultan Nuruddin Zangi finished his work in Medina. He strengthened the security and prepared to leave. On his final day, he stood before the Rawdah, weeping like a child, holding the golden grills. He whispered, "O messenger of Allah, this humble servant Mahmud did what he could. Bear witness that I protected your honor with my life and wealth. Do not forget me on the day of resurrection." All of Medina came to see him off, eyes filled with tears. Sultan Nuruddin Zangi took some soil from Medina back to Damascus. He left a will. "When I die, place this dust from Medina under my cheek in my grave." He passed away in 1174 AD, but his lead wall still stands as a silent sentinel beneath the earth of Medina. May Allah accept us all as true lovers of the Prophet, just like Sultan Nuruddin Zangi. May he protect our faith. Ameen.